Hello, and welcome back to Uncultured Twenties. My name is Julia.
And my name is Leanne.
And this podcast will be a journey of us culturally educating ourselves in what is considered classic in pop culture. Think media that people will say, you've never seen that.
Yep. Any films, albums, comics, you name it. We go over our initial impressions and why we think it's made its way into the cultural canon.
Films like Roman Holiday and The Mummy.
Or albums like Auntie and Brand New Eyes.
Or even books. We're always open to suggestions, so keep up with us at Uncultured Twenties on Instagram and TikTok. We're also on Letterboxd at Uncultured Twenties with a 20s.
It's the last episode of our first season, so we had to do something special.
Yes, today we're dissecting our very first music video. It's so fitting for the finale of this season, Lady Gaga and Beyoncé's Telephone. Uncultured 20s. So, hold on, wait. What do you mean it's our last episode?
Just the last episode of the season. Don't worry, we're coming back.
Okay, good.
They're not getting rid of us that easy. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be back later this fall.
We did have a pretty busy season. Remember Brendan Fraser? Or our field trip to see Paramore.
I know. We've had such amazing guests as well. We had Liv, Amanda, Jenna, and they all brought really interesting perspectives and knowledge.
I've liked most of the things that we've covered. Some of them, maybe not as much.
Well, we're going to be revisiting our least liked film today. No. If you've listened to episode 7, you'll know that we did not like Pulp Fiction, primarily because of our issues with its director, Quentin Tarantino. If you're out of the loop, please go take a listen and then come back to this episode.
I think this will be a good way to examine how media influences each other, because Telephone really heavily references Tarantino's unique style.
As much as I hate Tarantino, I love Lady Gaga and Beyoncé. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's time to put these two at odds. This is a content warning for the episode. It will discuss issues of sexual assault and transphobia, especially when relating back to the Tarantino episode. So please keep that in mind when listening ahead.
Telephone was released in 2010 and named Best Video of the Decade by Billboard.
It's not just a music video. It's a short film, and it's almost 10 minutes long.
It starts with Gaga getting put in prison for murdering her boyfriend in her previous music video for paparazzi. She's catcalled by the inmates and stripped by the guards. It's giving Chicago the musical.
Very Cell Block Tango-esque.
Yes, indeed. That's one I have seen.
We cut to the prison yard where the inmates are lifting weights and glammed up in a bunch of different looks, and Gaga's wearing these cigarette sunglasses that are like lit and smoking, and she starts making out with another inmate and uses that opportunity to slide her hand in there and steal her cell phone.
As a fight breaks out inside the prison, Gaga gets a call. She now has her beer can rollers in her hair and this very beautiful, sexy, dark makeup look. When she picks up the phone, she breaks into dance and song, and the whole music video kind of takes off.
She pulls out the classic rah-rah, Gaga, claws, ooh la la, if you'll remember from Bad Romance, and has this group of synchronized dancers dancing through the prison. They're climbing on the bars. They're in their little underwear. Yeah. Their bedazzled underwear. And this is when Gaga's iconic crime scene tape outfit designed by Brian Lichtenberg appears. It's pretty much just wrapped around her body and covering her bitty parts. Mm-hmm. And the song gets put on pause as Gaga gets bailed out by the one and only Beyoncé.
They reunite in the Pussy Wagon, originally from Kill Bill, where Beyoncé admonishes Gaga for being a very, very bad girl. Beyoncé has Betty Page-style 1950s bangs, and they end up driving off through the desert.
They pull up to an all-American diner where Beyoncé sits down with Tyrese Gibson of the Fast and Furious franchise. They communicate with subtitles and body languages, and he very clearly establishes himself as a misogynistic pig as he walks through the diner, slapping women on their butts and just causing a ruckus.
Beyoncé poisons his drink while he's not looking, but it doesn't kill him. The video cuts to Gaga singing in the kitchen and teaching the audience on how to make a sandwich. She has this intricate headpiece of rotary phones, and she dances with the chefs while adding a little extra items to their sandwiches.
Gaga brings the food to the couple, and Tyrese greedily grabs it. But as he chokes on his meal, it is revealed that they poisoned all the food in the restaurant, and they committed a mass homicide. The two stars dance among all the dead bodies in the diner, and they're wearing this all-American garb, some flags, very 4th of July, and they're singing the last chorus of the song.
The video ends as they dance in front of the pussy wagon in different outfits, cut between police cars and news stories of what they've done. The two hold hands, and they promise to never come back. The video closes out with a Venus symbol with the words, "To be continued," on the screen.
Biggest lie ever. It's been 13 years. I need part 2.
I'm waiting. Where's part 2?
I mean, I guess it's part 3 technically, since paparazzi is part 1. But
right.
You can't just say "to be continued" and not continue that ish. Like, I still think this was a promise that needs to be kept.
Yeah, and like, why would you not continue it? Like, we all want it so bad. It would have been such a success. But
it's the collab of the century.
For real. Yeah, there's a bit of foreshadowing when they said, "So we're never coming back." They literally meant they're never coming back.
They've never even performed the song live together. Like, we're not getting this.
So we did ask you guys on Instagram what you think, and it wasn't even split. 50% of you said that we will never get a sequel to this video.
I think 50% of you are just not hopeful enough. We just need to pressure them so much until it happens.
Oh my gosh,
I think
I wish.
This is the one thing that I've just kept up on, and I can't even believe it's been 13 years when I was rewatching the video, and it says like 13 years ago. First of all, the fact that YouTube has just been around that long.
I know.
And the fact that, like, I remember when this came out, I remember, like, it's just reminding me of how old I am, honestly. Like,
for real.
And fun fact, Telephone actually earned the Guinness World Record for most product placements in a video.
Yeah, as I was watching again, I really noticed it this time too. I mean, there's the plenty of fish when Gaga's leaving the prison and the officer's signing in as Miss Officer. And then there's Virgin Mobile when she takes the phone. And I think Coke was one of them.
Yeah, Diet Coke. So it's actually Diet Coke cans in her hair that she's wearing as rollers. There's also Polaroid, which Lady Gaga is actually the artistic director of.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wonder Bread when she's teaching people how to make a sandwich. Chevrolet, Miracle Whip, and Beats, of course. I think in 2010, Beats sponsored every music video alive. I'm sure there's actually more sponsorships that I didn't even catch in there. But Gaga was actually trying to reference Andy Warhol and sort of comment on consumerism, commercialism, and she felt that this award from Guinness World Records was a little misinterpreted. So after this, she really toned down product placement in her future videos.
Speaking of references, I don't even know where to start. There are so many in this video.
There's obviously clear references to Tarantino, but I think we'll wait till the end to do that because there's just so much to say.
Yeah.
But maybe we could start with when the guards strip Gaga. This is after she's brought into the prison and they toss her on the bed and take her clothes off. And this is Gaga referencing rumors that she has a penis. So at the time, everybody was saying that she's intersex, that she's trans, all this kind of stuff in a very malicious way. And the rumors were so rampant that even Anderson Cooper questioned her about it in an interview. And Gaga had the best answer. She said,
"Maybe I do."
But it's interesting.
Would it be so terrible?
But it's interesting. A lot of artists would immediately put out some sort of a statement saying this is absolutely not true. You have fun with it.
Why the hell am I going to waste my time and give a press release about whether or not I have a penis? My fans don't care, and neither do I.
The best reply, because first of all, literally who cares? It does not matter. Second of all, the fact that she's being questioned about these rumors in an interview, like, that's so unprofessional. That's so invasive.
That's crazy. Like, imagine today somebody asking that, like, they would be like ripped to shreds. Like, I can't believe I forgot about that. And then I was like, oh my God, yeah.
I know. And then when the guards after they strip her, they say, like,
I told you she didn't have it.
Too bad.
It's like one of my favorite. Too bad.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like such a cruel reminder of like how many things Gaga went through to be where she is, just because she's not like traditional pop princess.
Yeah, for real. Everyone's like, oh, she's like maybe a little crazy. Like, let's try to ask her and see all of these things that we think like could be wrong with her, in quotes. Like, yeah, she was really like torn apart by the media all the time, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know. And it took her years and years to get respect. And she was bullied in high school. Like, there were Facebook hate pages saying, like, Stephanie Germanotta, which is Lady Gaga's real name, you will never be famous. Like, look at her now, okay?
Oh my
Like,
God, yeah.
look at her now.
You are very wrong about that. So she also references King of Pop, Michael Jackson, as she's leaving the prison, popping into a little shuffle. I feel like her Gaga claws also take inspiration from his Thriller dance, like her talons when she goes. Yeah. So lots of other artists are also referenced in this video, including Madonna, Shania Twain, David LaChapelle, Guy Ritchie, Russ Meyer, and Doom.
So many musicians. Great Danes are also seen a lot in Gaga's videos. They're like a constant sort of motif. Lava, one of the dogs in the Poker Face and Bad Romance videos, also has a cameo in the diner scene. And she's unfortunately one of the victims of the homicide. No, Lava, no. R.I.P. Like, and they're so iconic in the Poker Face video. I just remember the two dogs like by the pool.
Yeah.
Like, she's had a full story arc and she's been killed.
Oh my gosh. So tragic. Did you have to?
I know. They had like cut to the scene of the dog like passed out. I'm like, no.
There's generally a lot of references to the 50s and 60s with the comic book graphics, diner, and Beyonce's Wonder Woman inspired costume. And drag culture is also clearly an inspiration behind much of the fashion in the video.
Yeah, like Gaga's leopard print outfit, which is also inspired by Shania Twain, but just like the cap and the whole leopard fit, I could totally see someone wearing that on Drag Race down the runway.
Yeah.
Honestly, all of the looks, like, and I know drag queens nowadays are also inspired by Lady Gaga, so it's just this sort of cultural loop of everybody inspiring each other and ballroom and fashion. It's really, really intriguing.
Mm-hmm. I love the outfits in this video. Every like 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, new outfit. I'm like, so good.
I know. At the end, too, when they have sort of the matching like fabric draped all over them, it's beautiful. It's just stunning. It's stunning. Beyonce and Gaga's relationship is very much giving like a toxic criminal romance. I don't think it's super ambiguous. They're definitely like a relationship in the video.
Yeah.
At the end of the video, when they've killed everyone, they've made their escape, they just hold hands and kiss.
We did it, honeybee. Now let's go far, far away from here. You promise we'll never come back? I promise.
It's just like Thelma and Louise, which is a sort of girl crime movie. And if you haven't seen Thelma and Louise, at the end they drive off a cliff together instead of getting caught by the authorities, and so this sort of driving into the distance is very much mirroring that. So I guess maybe that's why we don't get a part 2, is because it's alluding that they're
going off the cliff. Yeah. I like when Beyonce picks her up and she gives her the Twinkie or whatever too.
She takes the bite and she like tosses it out the window. I was like, I remember when I was growing up watching it, I was like, why did you toss the rest of it out the window? Like, you can eat the rest of that.
Like, it's a perfectly good Twinkie. You just got out of prison. Like, come on.
So I think it's actually a honey bun.
Oh,
which
yes.
is another reference.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Their relationship is meant to imitate Pumpkin and Honey Bunny in Pulp Fiction.
I love you, Pumpkin.
I love you, honey bunny.
And if you do need a reminder, that's the couple that hold up the restaurant at gunpoint. And Gaga even calls Beyonce Honeybee as well.
I remember you saying that was like your favorite scene from Pulp Fiction was like Honey Bunny and Pumpkin.
Yeah. I like them. I'm like, that's like the only part of the movie that I was like, okay.
I actually just realized recently that the woman in that couple, she's in the Hunger Games Catching Fire.
Tik Tok. It's a clock.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh. Wow. Anyways, newsflash: actors appear in multiple things.
Yeah, but isn't it so satisfying when you recognize who they are?
Yes.
And you're like, oh my God,
Just
who
from
is
your
it? Who is it?
brain.
Oh, they were in this other movie. I do that all the time.
I know. It's like, honestly, that's why I love watching all these things, because it's like the biggest game of guess
True.
who. And the video sort of takes Pumpkin and Honey Bunny's story and gives them a victorious ending, because in Pulp Fiction, they sort of run away after being confronted by Jules, and they actually achieve what they set out to do in this video. They also really remind me of The Bride and Kill Bill. You haven't seen Kill Bill, remember? Is that correct?
I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen the full movie,
Okay.
so I don't know who the bride is.
So, I mean, obviously similar aesthetic, because it's both Quentin Tarantino, but it's basically a revenge story starring Uma Thurman, and her character is called the Bride, and all of the other women are called the Deadly Vipers. So they're like it's sort of like evil Charlie's Angels kind of vibes. And they all have like these really colorful names and outfits, and I think her name is like Black Mamba and all those kind of things. So it's very similar vibes in that there's like these femme fatale assassins with different motives for revenge.
Mm-hmm. The video also parodies a lot of revenge films. Like I Spit on Your Grave, and I can't tell if it's making fun of Tarantino, taking power from him, or kind of just honoring him.
It does feel a little honorary, like they use the same title font from his 97 film Jackie Brown, which stars Pam Grier from the L Word, for any L Word fans. And Gaga even had lunch with the director, sort of to get his blessing and ideas for the video. And that's when he said, you should take the pussy wagon. Like,
oh my gosh.
So it's the exact same
It's the
car.
actual one. Oh
Yeah.
my God. That's crazy. That's like a lot of power from Lady Gaga. I feel like they're like, yeah, sure, just take it.
Like, so obviously she has enough respect for him to talk to him and get his blessing and reference these videos. Like, it doesn't it's hard because the original Tarantino films also have an essence of parody and an essence of satire, so it's sort of a satire of a satire. So it's hard to tell when they're criticizing Pulp Fiction the genre and when they're criticizing Pulp Fiction the film by Quentin Tarantino.
It's largely just an homage to American culture in general. Consumerism, celebrity culture, pop art, prison system, the burgers, the wide range of fashion displayed in the prisons. There's WWE type glam, 90s Chicana, butch lesbians, the whole gambit in there.
The prison scenes are definitely my favorite part, just seeing all the different women there. It's kind of this like oasis in a sense, because there's no men there.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, even though the women are locked away in this prison and they're dressed so scantily, it's like it's because they have the freedom to do so in this like female only space. So it feels like even though they're in prison, they have so much more power than in Tarantino's films. Like, in his films, they're sort of just like side characters, especially in Pulp Fiction, meant to just further the plot, be like a side piece. But in this, like, they're just existing. There's no unnecessary violence towards them. Like, everything that's violent, like the fight that they have in the prison, or even Tyrese Gibson's violence towards women, it really, like, it's essential to the plot, and it tells you about the character. It's not just there just for the fun of it. Especially with the misogynoir as well in Pulp Fiction. Like, the Black characters, like, I mean, Beyoncé, like, actually have storylines, and they're actually people. So even though they're prisoners and they're locked up, like, they're really given their power back and their humanity. So it really reminds me of Orange is the New Black, honestly, like, not just because this is a lesbian prison story.
Yeah.
But it's from a female perspective. Like, you can tell these women all have really deep and rich backgrounds and motives.
Also the like female prison guards too.
Yeah,
it's like different dynamic there for sure. And Stephanie Stephanie is Lady Gaga's name, but her sister is also in the video as one of the inmates.
Shit, that was one of my questions.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay.
I do know.
It's okay. Well, there, you get a free point just for that.
Sorry.
No, and you know what? I remember when I was younger, I was like, why do they always keep like? I thought it was Lady Gaga as like playing a side character or something.
Yeah.
I remember being like, why are they like focusing on her? It's just a cameo from her sister.
They look so similar.
They really do.
When Gaga has her sandwich sequence, she's flipping the 50s housewife expectations on its head and showing how poisonous it really is. The song itself is also talking about how claustrophobic and controlling heterosexual relationships can be and how she'd rather be out with her friends dancing and enjoying her life. I love when she's making the sandwich. I think that scene's so funny. She's just like pouring, like shaking her rat poison on everything. And her outfit too, of course, with the headpiece made of rotary phones. It's so cool.
I love that outfit, like with the clear plastic dress and the blue headpiece and the makeup, and this is like when the pop art sort of comes in and the fun little like sound effects and the crowd cheering. I don't know why, but I'm such a big fan of the like cooking show, like the mock cooking show sort of trope.
Yeah.
I think it's an episode of what is it? Is it Oats Studios? Have you seen that?
Nope.
Okay, so if y'all are fans of Black Mirror or Love, Death, and Robots, it's very similar, but I think it's Canadian.
Oh, nice.
And they have a few sequences. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a bunch of cooking sequences, and it's very like 80s infomercial style. And every episode ends with the guy just like mangling himself in the kitchen, and then they come back to the next episode and he's like perfectly fine again, and then he like mangles himself in a different way.
Oh no.
It reminded me of that as well.
It's so like outside of reality, I think, that it's funny when it's like just inserted into things like in videos or movies.
And when I watch actual infomercials, I can't even believe
True. There's something about them that there's this quality that you're like, you're not actually like, this isn't like a paid commercial, right? Like it's so like removed from reality almost. It's so weird.
Yeah, the song itself, I feel like when I was growing up, I was like, this song means nothing. Like, what are you talking about? You're just talking about a telephone. But then now, like, I get it.
Yeah.
She's like, it's the commentary on like the surveillance state and control. Like, as phones evolve, the need to know where everyone is at all times is just ramped up to this extreme level. Like, it's even shown with the prison surveillance camera shots. It's like we're always being watched. And I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist right now, but it's true. Like, with Find My iPhone, Find My Friends, like, I mean, obviously there's an element of safety to it, and sometimes I do feel safe knowing, like, if I park my car, I'm like, oh, okay, there's like a CCTV camera right there, like, great. But then sometimes I'm like, oh my god, like, why do I need to like be reachable everywhere that I am, especially with work and things. Like, true. It's like, okay, why am I getting a message on like a Sunday about like, blah 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 blah. It's like, you can never escape. Like, the only escape is when you go camping and have like no service. And then there's like this feeling of anxiety of not being able to like connect. And this is in 2010. This is even before like the amount that smartphones have changed in the past 13 years. Like,
for real. They're
still talking about flip phones. Like, you're feeling claustrophobic with flip phones. Like, can't even imagine what it's like now.
Yeah, you don't even know. It's so true though. Yeah, with like, like Find My Friends and things. Like, imagine, in this video she's like, stop calling because I don't want to talk, and like, you can just like decline and do whatever, but like you can like always be found now. Like, you can always be found if it's not your Find My Friends. It's like your Snapchat map, or like, there's other ways to like when you post it on Instagram. Like, it's so crazy the world that we're living in now, where it's like, if it's hard to not be found at this point, which is crazy. Like, you could just like decline the call before, and then that would be that. But things have changed in 13 years, so it's even more intense now.
People's expectations of each other has also changed, like, if you leave some before, it's like, okay, you leave them a voicemail, hopefully they get back to you in a few days, or you send a letter or something. Like, you know, it takes time. But now it's like, oh, I didn't hear from them in 2 hours. Like, are they mad at me?
True.
Or, like, there's just so many lines being blurred and misinterpreted. And yeah, it does give me a lot of anxiety, honestly. But like not having it also gives me anxiety.
Yeah. Also, as like a self-proclaimed bad texter, I always feel bad and then I forget to answer or whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, I know that if I was trying to reach somebody too, I also have that level of anxiety where it's like, oh my god, like they didn't text me back. Meanwhile, I'm out here forgetting to answer, and I'm like hours later, I'm like, hi, I'm so sorry, oh my gosh. Which is like, you know, you don't have to be reachable at all hours of the day, but like there's just like, yeah, like you said, there's that expectation now that, you know, I send you a text, you have your phone on you, just like answer the text kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, she's like, Gaga's even wearing chains, like, to prove it, to show like how restrained and how claustrophobic she feels.
It is kind of meta because the song's being played in clubs and made for girls going out. You know, it's encouraging them to exist in real time and enjoy the moment and forget about the invisible tether of the telephone and of the overbearing partners of the world.
Virgin Mobile is actually the enemy.
Oh my god.
I wish I was in the club when this came out. Like,
True.
I'm so mad that I was 11 when this came out.
You're like, I can't
what the hell?
properly bop and enjoy the song as it should have been.
I just know, like, how awesome it must have been to, like, be in the club and be like, fuck my phone, like, fuck this, like, tonight is all about dancing with my girls.
Yeah.
And, like, ignoring the world. And, like, imagine how excited everybody was. Like, this collaboration is so iconic.
Insane.
I would say 2 of the biggest divas of our time.
For sure.
You know, I asked you guys on Instagram who you feel some of our top divas were. Right now we got Taylor Swift. I heard Mariah. I heard Gaga. I heard Carly Rae Jepsen. Beyonce, of course. The height was just before we could reach it.
For real.
Now we're just, I don't know. Maybe the music was always bad, but I just feel like when I go out, I never hear music I want to hear, honestly. And I'm not like expecting to hear some like obscure stuff. Like, just give me those 2010 club hits. Like, that's all I'm
for
asking.
real. That was like the best era of like club music, I feel. Maybe I also just like don't really listen to like pop music as much anymore, so I don't know what they're playing nowadays. But oh my gosh, I mean, we would have like school dances when I was in like elementary or middle school, high school, and I'm like, this is like the best, like this is like the best music ever for this. I think I tried to relive that like renaissance a little when I was in the beginning of university. I used to listen to this song all the time. I'd just be like in my room alone and I'd be like, okay, I just need to like listen to the song and like have a little moment.
I feel like when I need to like do something or when I'm like trying to amp myself up, like I'm always playing music like this because it makes me feel so powerful. And, you know, speaking of Renaissance, Beyonce is literally changing the economy right now with her Renaissance tour. Okay, don't come at me because I literally have no idea how the economy works. I don't know about stocks. I don't know about anything, but I have read that she's like actually just her going on tour has made such a difference.
That's crazy. It's crazy, like the staying power too of these artists, because like I feel like you don't get that as much anymore. A lot of like people that I think of who are still making music today are kind of started out in the 2000s, 2010s, and like I don't know that many artists who I feel like will still be around in like 10 years, like these, like 13 years later. But like Lady Gaga still super prevalent. Beyonce, obviously, with her economy shifting tour. Like, it's kind of crazy how long and the staying power that they have, how long they've been going for. I think it's like a testament to the star power of them, I guess.
Totally. And I think I read an article the other day that was saying that music labels or whatever are upset because musicians now just don't have the same star power, and like the only people who've really been able to make like a big dent have been like Ice Spice and Olivia Rodrigo. But it's also because a lot of musicians are sort of branching out on their own because they're using the internet and they're using their own methods to get popular, but also because labels just aren't investing in musicians. Like, how can you expect someone to produce like a full album and do all the promotion and go on tour, but not like get paid and like a livable wage. And like they need time and they need space and resources to do these things. And if the labels aren't willing to give them, then of course you're not going to be making superstars.
Yeah. I feel like also, this is just my outside opinion, but there's also such an oversaturation now of like musicians and things with like the internet, and like, you know, there's like all these people on TikTok who are like sort of like instant famous or like instant stars or whatever, but it's so brief. It's like, you know, you have your 15, or I guess TikTok you can go longer now, but like you have your like minute of fame, but there's just so many people that like, I feel like back in the day it was like, oh, you had like, they were just like signing a bunch of people. They would just discover people and sign them. But now it's like you really have to like fight to be like, listen, you should like take me on and invest in me. And I mean, I don't know, that's just like from the outside how it looks. I don't really know all the inner workings of labels and such, but
yeah, of course,
it is definitely a different time for sure.
It is. It really is. And people don't listen to full albums anymore. They don't even listen to full songs anymore. They just listen to the like chorus on TikTok or whatever. And then when they listen to and usually obviously it's like the most catchy part, and then they listen to the rest of the song, they're like, oh, it's not even that good. It's just that one part that was literally made for TikTok.
In Telephone, this video also helped to establish Gaga as a legit artist, because, you know, people, as you mentioned, were making fun of her for so long. They didn't think she was going to make it in the industry. And then, you know, she comes out with Beyoncé, Tarantino, and she's really making herself known as a cultural staple, which I think she very successfully has done over the years, for sure. Even
thinking back to the Paparazzi music video, she has herself printed on the money. Like, it's like Gaga money or something.
Yeah.
Like, this, like, her vision, she's like, I'm going to be a star and I'm going to make these people realize it. And her power, like, she did that. Like, I remember when she's coming out with the meat dress and like the Kermit dress or whatever, like she had all those crazy outfits on, and people are saying, oh, you know, her style, it's just a stunt to stay relevant. She's dressing as weird as she wants. And I mean, sure, like it's making a statement, but she is also proving them wrong and like having a real vision for herself as an artist. Like, people are understanding it 10, 15 years later. You know, they didn't get it at the time. Like, they didn't understand like what she was going for and what she was speaking about and how she was making fun of them, honestly. It's just like, and this is also at the same time like when Nicki Minaj was getting big and people were saying she was also just gonna be like a one-hit wonder, and her style was very different then too. It was sort of like Harajuku-esque.
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about how much people shit on them, the industry was, I mean, it still is, but the industry was so misogynistic, and everybody's just making fun of all these female artists for having a hint of individuality and style, and now look where they are.
Yeah, for real. It's like, oh, good, like your freaking male singer comes out in his fucking jeans and a cowboy hat. Like, I don't care. I'm like, oh, yay, we all applaud him. And meanwhile, like, there's people like Lady Gaga or Nicki Minaj coming out doing these, like, so, like, these such individual and, like, unique things. And everybody's like, oh, it's, like, too different. And, like, they're just doing it for attention. And it's like, yeah, okay, let's now fast forward to now. And, like, I don't care about your freaking dude in a cowboy hat. Like, I'm listening to Lady Gaga still. My ringtone on my phone is literally Telephone. I'm like,
because of this?
What?
Has it always been?
Yeah, since first year. It's Telephone.
I guess your phone is just always on silent.
It's true, yeah. Well, I put it on it's the stop calling, I don't want, because I'm like, I don't want to talk on the phone, so like, it's been my ringtone.
Well, it's true though, like with, you know, these dudes in cowboy hats. It's like, honestly, for example, Maroon 5 was huge at the time. If you tell me like to name all the members of Maroon 5, I can't. But I'll recognize Nicki Minaj's voice anywhere. I recognize Lady Gaga anywhere.
It's definitely just like the misogyny and like, yeah, just the idea that anything different is bad.
Yeah, and
which is
like that
so
they're
funny.
not catering to the male view. Like, sorry you're
Yeah.
not attracted to a woman wearing a meat dress. Like, maybe this isn't for you.
It's not for you.
It's not for you. This is for all the girls in like art class who like came in their home constructed costumes. Like,
Yeah.
this is for the girls who are sewing their best friends' skirts for their birthdays.
Woohoo!
This is for the girls who are currently right now altering clothes for their Sunny Angels that they bought at the antique mall.
Beautiful.
If you want to see more, go watch our recent TikTok from Dirty Dancing. I included my Sunny Angels, and
Yes.
you'll see a little skirt that I made for it.
It's so awesome.
And going back to Michael Jackson, Thriller was like one of the first like real productions of music videos. And even, 2010s, I feel like there's a lot of just like dance videos and simple concept, beautiful, sure, but like simple concept videos. And then here comes this 9.5 minute long art piece. And since then, now I feel like people really put so much into music videos, and I love it. I think music videos are honestly my favorite form of media because it incorporates so many different things and you can go so many different ways. And I love how, like, just seeing a visualization of an artist's song and seeing what they're thinking and how they pair their music with video.
As a music lover first, I think, of all media, it's like exciting. I'm like, oh, I get a little mini movie every time I want to watch a video. I'm like, this is great. But yeah, I used to have like, Vivo used to have all the music videos like on YouTube. I used to have the Vivo app on my iPad, and I would just like I would like cycle through all the music videos. But oh my gosh, yeah, it's such a fun form of media to consume for sure. And it's like, if I'm going to watch a movie, I have to like sit down and like take a lot of time, but I can watch a music video anytime. I can just like pull it up while I'm at work,
It's like the best when you go to like a party or something and people just start pulling out music videos and then you're just like sharing the music videos that you found. Like, I feel like there's so many that I just watch over and over again. In one of my favorite films, Boyhood, which I've definitely brought up before, as a refresher, they filmed it over 12 years, and every year they kind of bring in different cultural touchstones. So in 2002, I think they did like Britney, Hit Me Baby One More Time, like that kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure for 2010, they did the telephone music video.
Nice.
So they're in the car driving to like, I don't know, the cottage or whatever, and the sister has her iPod Touch.
Oh my god.
Classic. And she has the telephone music video and she's watching it with like her stepmom.
Nice.
And the stepmom is like, she's like more religious, and she's like, oh my gosh, like your mom lets you watch this? And the sister's probably like 15 at the time. She's like, yeah, my mom likes it too. And it's like the scene of her like in the prison, like being stripped. And I think the stepmom offers to like buy her Lady Gaga tickets next time she comes to like Austin or something. And I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous.
I'm like, damn, where's my stepmom to buy me Lady Gaga tickets?
Yeah. And I'm like, I love that they included this because obviously at the time they're like, this is important. This is cultural. Like they recognized at the time and it still holds up. Like this is still seen as such a turning point in music video history.
Yeah, so many young artists now, of course, reference Gaga and Beyoncé as inspirations, especially in the gay community. They inspired kids to be themselves, to be weirdos, to be powerful. And in 2018, NPR named Lady Gaga the second most influential female artist of the 21st century, with the first being Beyoncé.
Like literally the two most powerful female artists in a song together.
Gaga and her work have influenced various artists, including Sam Smith, Ali X, Cardi B, Rina Sawayama, Slater, Kim Petras, Doja Siwa, and Doja Cat.
And I mean, hundreds more. And drag artists, like every episode.
And
Jules. Like, oh, so good. I feel, yeah, she's just like gay icon. Both of them, honestly. Gay icons, cultural icons, powerful women. Like, even if this is referencing and working with like one of the most awful directors, at least like, they're taking that shit and making it their own.
I was gonna say, and I can enjoy it instead of hating it. Like I'm like, oh yeah, like Pussy Wagon, that's funny, versus like in Tarantino, I'm like, oh,
like I don't feel icky when I'm watching it because they're like taking their power back, and it just shows that Tarantino has something really good there, and if he like channeled his powers for good and like was like a decent person, his films would be even better. There, I said it. Like, if he wasn't just so violent and so racist and abusing women, like, like it could be
literally
like,
it could be good.
So
like,
more.
What the heck?
It could be enjoyable. Like, I wouldn't feel crawly and creepy in my skin while watching it. And
So thanks Lady Gaga and Beyonce for what you've done for us.
I think it's cool to see also just how the original inspiration being like the 50s, and then seeing its iteration in the 90s with Tarantino, and then seeing its iteration in the 2010s, like regurgitating American culture. Like this whole video is just like everywhere you look, there's a reference to something there. And I mean, Gaga's actually commented and saying, you know, she tried saying, I tried to put too much in, like there's just too much there, but I think it's perfect. Like she says she wishes she edited herself more, but like I feel like this was peak 2010. Like there's just so much everywhere all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially, it was also the era of parodies. Like I remember on YouTube, there was like there was this YouTuber named Venetian Princess who was like my favorite YouTuber, and she was like a one-woman show, and she would make parodies of different music videos.
Oh my gosh.
But she, like, if you go on YouTube and watch her videos, they're so camp. They're so good. Venetian Princess is her name. And she did like a womanizer, like all these things, and she dressed up, and it was just a girl in her green screen and a dream. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I forgot about all the parodies. It's so true that it's like and I watch them. Like I would be like, yes, give me the parodies of the videos. I love it. But yeah, you don't really get that as much anymore.
It was still when the internet was such a wild, wild west.
Yeah.
I used to make music videos like on YouTube. I did those whole things. My brother, my cousin, and I did a music video to the Lazy Song by Bruno Mars. We did one to Boyfriend by Justin Bieber, where my brother was dressed in drag, and then my cousin and I were dressed in like boy drag. Good. Like,
yeah, those are
this back.
Simpler and much more fun times for sure. Bring back Leanne's music videos, please.
I mean, my band does have music videos, but they're actually serious music videos. But definitely go check them out.
Yeah.
Self-plug. Since we are at the end of the season, I think I'm allowed to self-plug.
Oh, you gotta do it.
We did a music video for Stew, our single, and we released it last Halloween. And I did the creative concept, and I wrote the song, or I wrote the lyrics to the song at least. And it's definitely a reference to Vertigo by Alfred Hitchcock. There's a ton of references there, tons of visual stuff. It was so much fun to be a part of it. It's a little absurdist, and like honestly, growing up and watching music videos like this and then making them on my own when I was younger to now being able to actually execute that in like a professional manner, this video really like influenced me as like a person. Like it really, really made me want to do music videos and be a musician and be an artist. And like I said, I love music videos. Like my dream job would be just like making music videos.
Literally, honestly. Me too. When I was like thinking about going to school for design and other things, I was like, what if I could just be like an art director for like music videos? Like, would that not be like the best job in the whole world?
Pop quiz. We are gonna test each other and you.
So it's our pop quiz time. I'm asking the questions today, even though Julia already knows some of the answers. Okay. Here's my first question, which if y'all were listening, you should know the answer. Yep. Who makes a cameo in The Prison? A, Gaga's trainer. B, Gaga's sister. Or C, Gaga's mom.
You know it's B, Gaga's sister. I honestly think I might have been able to guess this even if I didn't know, just because of how alike they look. And, like, how the camera was, like, focusing on her. But, yeah, it was so cool. If I had a sibling who was a musician, I'd be like, you better put me in that video.
Yeah, I think Gaga's sister does, like, fashion design now and has designed some clothes for her music videos and stuff, which is so sick.
That's so cool.
All right, second question. Telephone was originally written by Gaga for A, Britney, B, Mariah, or C, Rihanna.
I think I'm gonna guess I think I'm gonna guess Britney. Yes!
You're doing so good today.
I feel like I could see her in that video or just in that song. So that'd be cool.
Gaga originally wrote it for Britney's 2008 album. It was a Circus, I believe it's called.
I think so, yeah.
I remember, I guess this is showing my age, but like that's the first Britney album that I remember like releasing in my life. Like that's the one I remember when it came out. I remember listening to all those songs. Like that was my era of Britney.
Yeah, for sure.
Which looking back was probably like one of her most tumultuous times.
Yeah. Yep.
The demo of Britney singing the song actually leaked. So it is listable online.
Oh
I'll put a clip in here. I think we can all be glad that Gaga ended up performing it, and she actually wanted Britney she had a few different people that she wanted to be as like the guest musician, but Beyonce, I mean, you can't get anyone better than that. Like, yeah. And their voices sound so good together, and their chemistry and their power when they're together too. Like, they filmed the whole music video in 2 days.
Oh my god!
Because of, I mean, imagine how tight both of their schedules are. Like,
yeah, for real.
Getting Beyonce and Gaga in a room together for like that much time, their assistants must have been working overtime.
Oh my god, especially with the outfits and like sets and everything. Oh my god. Every 10 minutes you're like, okay, let's go. And
for our final question of the season, how did Kids Bop change the line, I'm sipping that bub?
Oh my gosh. Kids Bop lyric changes are so good.
So here are your options. I'm eating that grub. B, I'm sipping on some. Or C, I'm having some fun.
Have you heard Kids Bop's version of WAP?
No, what is it?
Why would you cover this song?
Yeah, sometimes it's like just every single meaning behind this is dirty. Like, you know.
Yeah, like you have to change every single line.
I can't even believe that they're still around to be covering WAP, honestly.
I think it was real Kids Bop. Now that I'm like, it could have been like a joke, but I'm like, I love Kids Bop. Anyways, I'm gonna guess C, I'm having some fun, because that sounds very Kids Bop-esque to me. No!
Sorry.
Is it Eating That Grub?
Eating That Grub.
Yes! Okay, that would have been my second guess. That's so funny.
I like, honestly, when I think of Gaga too, I think of like the Glee episode where they all did like different Gaga looks. That was such a good episode.
Yes.
Oh, everything comes back to
me. The cover of the song that they did, pretty good, with Rachel and the guest girl who was only there for like a season. I can't remember her name, but I was like, damn, I love this song in all forms.
Sorry, I cannot hear you. I'm kind of busy. Kind of busy. Kind of busy. Sorry, I cannot hear you.
I can't believe that we just did a full season.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. We started back in like, what was it, April?
Yeah, I think so.
And now here we are in August.
Crazy.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I guess we should do our final categorization.
Yeah, let's do it. How are you categorizing telephone? Are you joining the cult? Adding it to the list? Or hiding the fans are after me?
I'm definitely a little monster.
Of course.
I'm definitely part of the Beehive.
Yes.
I'm in that cult. I'm sipping that bub.
Eating that grub.
Eating that grub. I'm eating that poisoned honey. I'll eat whatever Beyonce feeds me.
Of course.
'Cause mother, like.
Yeah.
These women have honestly shaped my life in ways that I probably don't even know. Like, I love that era of music. I love this music video. I love the artistry behind it. I will be like going back and watching all of Gaga's early videos.
Mm-hmm.
The Fame Monsters, like one of my favorite albums.
Yeah.
I had that shit on iTunes. Like,
me
I
too.
bought that whole album.
Yep.
Gaga's been like, I think one of my favorite like female artists, like since I was young, really.
For sure.
What about you?
You know I'm joining the call. I'm in the call. I got that as my ringtone. I listen to that all the time. Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. I remember listening to Lady Gaga when I was a kid and Beyonce when I was a kid, and just like you know, I'm still listening to it now. It stayed with me for however many years, 13 plus years for this video. But yeah, there's something to be said about, you know, their music, their power, just them as artists that, you know, they're still so significant today. And like the range that they both have as well. Like Lady Gaga now in films too, like just going like, that's amazing. Beyonce's visual albums, you know, they're basically short films in themselves, and like the way they span media and the way they've spanned the decades as well, I think is amazing. So, you know, I'm definitely joining the call. I'm in the call. I've been in the call. I love it.
I feel so lucky to like exist at the same time as them, honestly.
For real.
Like, I feel like in, I don't know, 20 years time, 40 years time, whatever, I feel like kids are gonna be like, what was it like when Lady Gaga was like, blah, blah, blah. I'll be like,
you don't understand. You're like, when she would come out at the Grammys and she came out of an egg, like, you won't know what we all felt.
I hope we at least somewhat substantially dug the surface between this video, and we would also love to hear your thoughts on these two divas.
Somewhere in my heart, I will hold out for a part 2.
I think I'll
maybe one day.
Maybe that'll be my birthday wish. Every birthday, just wish for a part 2.
Every birthday, every 11/11,
Exactly.
every shooting
Every
star,
eyelash.
anytime, basically. Yes, like, please, we just want part 2. And so with that is our first season of Uncultured 20s. Connect with us on Letterboxd at Uncultured 20s, that's 20s, to see the films that we've covered, or our Spotify to see our playlists at Uncultured 20s, that's TWENTIES.
We will still be on Instagram, so follow us there at Uncultured 20s with a TWENTIES. We will be asking for your input on what we cover for next season, so if you want to hear us talk about your favorite movie or your least favorite movie, or like something that annoys you, or an album that you love, or even a book, okay, we will do a book. We will read.
I miss reading.
We are literate. We are literate folks. So please check up with us on Instagram, and don't be afraid to send us a message on what you would like to see covered.
I want to say thanks to Leanne for showing me all this new media. You know, this podcast started because she would always be like, have you seen this? And I would always say no. And so now I feel a little bit better that, you know, 8 or 9 or 10 episodes later, I am here and I have seen the media. So
we're checking off our list.
Yes, I am excited. I am ready for next season. I need more media. So yes, make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to podcasts so that you're notified when our season 2 comes out. In the meantime, make sure you listen to all our past episodes. We're on all major platforms.
We're Uncultured 20s, and we'll see you on the airwaves. Bye.
Bye. See you soon.
Uncultured 20s.